To truly attract quality men, the journey begins with understanding your own value. It's easy to overlook this step, especially when society constantly sends messages about how we need to change or improve to be worthy of love. But the truth is, if you don't see yourself as valuable, how can you expect someone else to see it? You must become deeply rooted in your own self-worth, and this requires you to take a hard look at how you view yourself. Are you treating yourself like someone who deserves respect, kindness, and love? This isn't about arrogance, it's about acknowledging your unique qualities and celebrating them. Think about what makes you extraordinary, the strengths you have, the obstacles you've overcome, and the kindness you bring into the world. These qualities are your value, and when you own them, it's like turning on a light that others can't help but notice. Quality men are drawn to women who know their worth because it signals that they can't be taken for granted. Now, part of understanding your value means letting go of any self-doubt or negative beliefs you may have been carrying. Maybe you've been told you're not good enough. Or maybe you've been in relationships where you weren't appreciated. It's time to release all of that. Those voices don't define you. They don't hold power over who you are now. You define you. And when you believe in your worth, it changes everything, your posture, your tone, your decisions. It's a subtle shift, but it has a profound impact on how people perceive and treat you. You see, confidence isn't loud or steady. It's that quiet assurance that you don't need someone else to validate you because you've already validated yourself. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You're whole on your own. When you carry yourself this way, quality men take notice. They're drawn to the quiet strength of a woman who knows she's enough just as she is. So as you move forward, remember this, the first step in attracting quality isn't about what you do or how you look. It's about what you believe about yourself. It's about waking up every day and choosing to see yourself as valuable, worthy, and deserving of the best. When you truly embrace that mindset, the energy you radiate will naturally draw the kind of love you deserve. When it comes to attracting quality men, one of the most transformative things you can do is set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're guidelines that show others how to treat you while ensuring your emotional and mental well-being. Unfortunately, too many people shy away from setting boundaries because they fear it will push others away. But here's the truth, boundaries don't chase the right people away, they attract them. When you establish boundaries, you're essentially saying, I value myself. And I won't compromise on what's important to me. That kind of confidence is magnetic. Quality men respect a woman who knows her limits and is unapologetic about them. It shows that she has standards, and standards are a reflection of self-respect. The key is to know your non-negotiables. What are the values and principles you hold dear? What are the behaviors you won't tolerate? You must be crystal clear on these, because if you're not, you risk compromising your happiness to please someone else. Boundaries also teach others how to respect you. When you stand firm in your values, it's a message that says, I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to protect my peace. Quality men admire that because it reflects maturity and self-awareness. They see that you're not someone who's easily swayed by external pressures. And that kind of stability is incredibly attractive. It sets you apart from the crowd, where many are willing to bend themselves out of shape just to be accepted. Now, boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're also about saying yes to the right things, yes to mutual respect, yes to clear communication, yes to relationships that uplift and inspire you. By setting these standards, you naturally weed out people who aren't aligned with your values. Those who aren't serious or are willing to meet your expectations will fall away. And that's a blessing. You don't want just anyone in your life, you want the right ones. But here's the thing, boundaries aren't always easy to enforce. Sometimes they'll be tested, and that's when you need to stay strong. If someone questions or challenges your limits, it's not a reason to lower them, it's an opportunity to reaffirm them. This is how you build self-respect, and in turn, how you earn the respect of others. Quality men aren't intimidated by boundaries, they're drawn to them. Why? Because boundaries create clarity. They show that you're intentional about your life and the kind of relationships you allow into it. They create a foundation for healthy, balanced connections. When you stand firm in your boundaries, you create space for someone who truly values and respects you to step into your life. And that's when real love begins. Another critical element to attracting quality men is mastering the art of self-assurance. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities anyone can possess because it reflects inner strength, independence, and clarity about who you are. When you carry yourself with confidence, you don't have to chase after attention, it finds you naturally. But let's unpack what self-assurance truly means, because it's deeper than just looking or acting confident on the surface. True confidence begins with self-acceptance. It's about embracing who you are, the good, the not so good, and everything in between. It's understanding that you don't need to be perfect to be loved or valued. When you show up as your authentic self, without trying to mold yourself into what you think someone else wants, you stand out in a way that's impossible to ignore. Quality men are drawn to women who are comfortable in their own skin because it signals emotional maturity and strength. Self-assurance also means you know your worth. You're not measuring your value by someone else's approval or affection. You're not seeking validation from external sources because you've already validated yourself. That kind of self-reliance is magnetic. It tells the world, I am enough, and the right man will see that and be inspired by it. But here's the secret: confidence isn't about being the loudest or most outgoing person in the room. It's about the quiet assurance that comes from knowing you don't need anyone else to complete you. You're whole on your own. One of the ways self-assurance manifests is through how you handle rejection or indifference. When you're confident, you don't crumble if someone isn't interested or doesn't see your value. You recognize that their opinion doesn't define you. You don't cling, beg, or try to prove your worth to someone who doesn't see it. Instead, you gracefully let go and trust that the right person will recognize your value without you having to convince them. That kind of emotional resilience is incredibly appealing because it shows that you respect yourself. Another aspect of self-assurance is the ability to set your own pace. You don't feel pressured to rush into a relationship or settle just because society says you should. You take your time because you know that what's meant for you won't pass you by. This patience and sense of control over your own life are traits that quality men admire. It shows that you're not desperate, you're deliberate. Confidence is also reflected in your actions. It's in the way you carry yourself, how you speak, and the decisions you make. Are you pursuing your passions? Are you taking care of your mental and physical health? Are you building a life you love, regardless of whether or not someone else is in it? When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally attract people who are inspired by your energy and ambition. Self-assurance isn't something you have to fake or force. It's a journey of continuous growth and self-discovery. The more you invest in yourself, your dreams, your well-being, your happiness, the more confident you become. And as you exude that confidence, you'll find that quality men are drawn to you not because you need them, but because they admire and respect the strength you've cultivated within yourself. That's the foundation of a truly meaningful connection. Another crucial aspect of attracting quality men is learning to cultivate emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions, as well as recognize and influence the emotions of others. It is not just about being emotionally aware. It's about how you navigate the complexities of relationships, both with yourself and with others. And when it comes to relationships, emotional intelligence plays a huge role in attracting someone who is genuinely aligned with you. First, understand why emotional intelligence is so important. When you're emotionally intelligent, you have a better understanding of how to manage your reactions to stress, conflict, or any situation that could potentially disrupt the harmony between you and another person. Quality men want someone who can handle difficult emotions with grace and poise, not someone who explodes at every little inconvenience or who becomes passive aggressive when things don't go as planned. Emotional intelligence gives you the ability to communicate effectively, listen actively, and respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. But emotional intelligence also means being self-aware. It's about recognizing your own emotional triggers and understanding why certain things affect you the way they do. When you have that awareness, you don't let your emotions rule your actions. Instead, you pause and take a moment to reflect. You can take a step back from the heat of the moment and respond from a place of understanding rather than one of reactivity. This emotional control makes you someone who is not only attractive, but also emotionally safe to be around. Quality men are drawn to women who are able to regulate their emotions. They don't want to be with someone who's constantly overwhelmed by their feelings or who projects their frustrations onto others. Instead, they are attracted to those who know how to take a step back, think before reacting, and process their emotions in a healthy, constructive way. This emotional maturity is incredibly important because it shows that you are capable of building a balanced, harmonious relationship. Another component of emotional intelligence is empathy, your ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. When you're empathetic, you're able to put yourself in the shoes of your partner, understand where they're coming from, and approach them with kindness and patience. And appreciate when their partner is not only supportive, but also able to see things from their perspective. It fosters mutual respect, understanding, and connection. However, empathy doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of the relationship. Emotional intelligence also involves having strong boundaries, knowing when to say no, when to stand your ground, and when to let go. And respect women who know their worth, who can assert themselves without being rude or undemanding, and who can express their needs clearly without fear of judgment. By practicing emotional intelligence, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. You are not only drawing in men who are emotionally mature themselves, but you're also setting the tone for how you expect to be treated. The more you embody these emotional skills, the more you demonstrate that you are capable of managing a healthy, balanced relationship. And when you're emotionally intelligent, you attract men who are looking for depth, understanding, and stability in their partnerships. In conclusion, emotional intelligence is not just about navigating emotions, it's about creating a foundation for connection, empathy, and understanding. It helps you build a relationship that is rooted in respect, mutual care, and shared emotional awareness. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you'll find that you are not only attracting quality men, but also paving the way for a relationship that can withstand the ups and downs that come with being human. Another key element in attracting quality men is the importance of maintaining a strong sense of self-worth and independence. So often we hear advice about compromising, adjusting to make a relationship work, and even changing ourselves for the sake of love. But here's the truth. If you don't have a solid sense of who you are, if you don't know your own value, it becomes incredibly difficult to attract someone who will value you the way you deserve. Quality men are drawn to women who stand confidently in their own identity, who know their worth, and who are independent, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. When you are confident in who you are and comfortable in your own skin, you stop looking for validation from external sources. You know that your value is intrinsic. It's not dependent on the opinions or approval of others, and definitely not on how someone else treats you. This self-assurance sends a powerful message to the world, and more importantly, to the quality men you want to attract. They see that you are someone who is whole on your own, not someone who is desperately seeking completion or validation through another person. A man who is truly worth your time will never ask you to dim your light. Instead, he will appreciate and celebrate your accomplishments, your strength, and your ability to stand tall in your own truth. But that begins with you. If you constantly seek external validation or place your self-worth in the hands of others, you create a foundation of insecurity, which can ultimately hinder the very connection you are trying to build. A quality man wants to meet you as you are without needing to fix you or make you feel better about yourself. Independence is also about living your life with purpose, pursuing your own goals, and being fully engaged in your own journey. When you are passionately focused on your own life, you show that you have your own path, your own dreams, and your own aspirations. This is incredibly attractive because it signals that you are not just looking for a partner to complete you, but rather someone to share in the beauty and growth of your own life. A quality man will be drawn to your independence because it reflects your emotional maturity and shows that you are not looking to be dependent on anyone for your happiness or fulfillment. When you're independent, you're not afraid to be alone because you know that your peace and happiness come from within. You recognize that being in a relationship should be an addition to your life, not a source of validation or identity. Quality men are often looking for a partner who has her own sense of self and isn't waiting for someone else to make her happy. This creates a healthy dynamic where both individuals are strong on their own, and yet they can still come together to build something even stronger. A woman who has her own life, passions, and dreams is someone who can offer her partner space to grow as well. And that mutual respect for independence is what forms a solid, long-lasting foundation for a relationship. Another critical aspect of maintaining a strong sense of self-worth is knowing how to set and enforce healthy boundaries. When you know your worth, you're clear about what you will and won't tolerate. You're not afraid to speak up for yourself when someone treats you in a way that doesn't align with your values. A quality man respects these boundaries, not because he's afraid of you, but because he recognizes and values your self-respect. He understands that you have standards, that you won't settle for anything less than the kind of treatment that reflects your worth. If you compromise your boundaries or settle for less than you deserve, you're teaching others, including potential partners, how to treat you. But when you hold yourself to a high standard, when you set clear boundaries and expectations, you attract people who will meet those standards. A man who is worthy of you will rise to the occasion, respecting your boundaries and valuing your independence, because he sees the power and strength in a woman who knows exactly what she deserves. So it all begins with you. When you focus on developing your own sense of self-worth, when you nurture your independence and remain true to yourself, you attract men who are equally strong, confident, and capable of offering a healthy, balanced relationship. Quality men are looking for women who have a deep sense of their own value and who carry themselves with confidence and grace. It's not about being perfect. It's about being authentically and unapologetically you. In the end, remember that when you recognize and embrace your own worth, you create space for someone else to see it too. You're not just attracting a partner, you're attracting someone who will genuinely appreciate and respect everything that makes you unique and beautiful. And that is the secret to attracting the kind of love that lasts. The sixth key element to attracting a quality man is emotional maturity. This is a fundamental aspect that many overlook when thinking about relationships, but it plays a significant role in whether or not a connection will last. Emotional maturity means being able to manage your emotions effectively, being in touch with your feelings without being ruled by them, and handling conflict with grace and understanding. When we talk about emotional maturity, we're talking about the ability to express emotions in a healthy and constructive way. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of excitement, passion, or frustration that comes with a relationship. But how you handle those emotions is what truly matters. A quality man is drawn to someone who can navigate through tough moments without resorting to drama, manipulation, or emotional outbursts. He wants a partner who can communicate honestly, but with empathy and respect, even when emotions are running high. A key part of emotional maturity is taking responsibility for your own feelings. It's about recognizing that you are responsible for how you feel and that you don't need to place blame on others for your emotional state. Many people, especially in romantic relationships, tend to project their feelings onto their partners. They may blame their partner for their insecurities, their unhappiness, or their frustrations. But a quality man is looking for someone who understands that true happiness comes from within. He wants a woman who takes ownership of her emotions and is committed to her own personal growth, rather than seeking external validation or putting the weight of her emotional well-being on her partner's shoulders. It's also important to understand that emotional maturity involves resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and relationships are no different. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, and challenges along the way. But how you handle those challenges can either make or break the relationship. A mature individual doesn't shy away from confrontation or difficult conversations. Instead, they face them head on with the intention of finding a solution, not winning an argument. They're willing to listen, compromise, and acknowledge the other person's perspective, even when it's uncomfortable. Emotional maturity also means knowing how to express love and affection in a way that feels genuine and meaningful. It's about understanding that love is not just a feeling, but a conscious decision to show care, respect, and support for your partner, no matter the circumstances. A quality man is looking for someone who can nurture a relationship with kindness, patience, and understanding without expecting anything in return. He's not interested in someone who is constantly testing him, playing games, or withholding affection. Instead, he values a woman who can give love freely, without conditions or manipulation, and who understands that real love is built on trust and mutual respect. But emotional maturity is not just about handling challenges or managing your emotions in difficult times. It's also about having a clear sense of what you want and need from a relationship and being able to communicate that effectively. This means being able to express your desires, your boundaries, and your goals without fear of rejection or conflict. It also involves being open to your partner's needs and listening attentively to their concerns instead of shutting down or becoming defensive when things don't go the way you expect. A quality man is attracted to a woman who can be open and vulnerable in a healthy way. He wants someone who is emotionally available, but not to the point where they lose themselves in the process. Emotional maturity means you can still be open, but you also know where to draw the line and protect your own well-being. It means understanding the balance between giving and receiving, and recognizing that emotional intimacy is a two-way street. When you are emotionally mature, you are able to maintain a sense of self while sharing your heart with someone else. Furthermore, emotional maturity involves self-awareness. It means taking the time to reflect on your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. When you are self-aware, you are more likely to recognize patterns of behavior that may not serve you and make changes when necessary. It also means knowing when you need to take a step back, reassess the situation, and make better decisions in your relationships. A quality man appreciates a woman who is self-aware, who understands her emotional triggers and knows how to handle them with poise. He admires someone who is constantly working on themselves, growing emotionally, and striving to be the best version of themselves. He knows that emotional maturity doesn't happen overnight, but rather is a continuous journey of self-reflection, growth, and learning. In a relationship, emotional maturity creates a stable foundation. It allows both partners to be honest with each other, to communicate openly without fear, and to support each other through life's inevitable challenges. This emotional stability fosters trust and respect, two qualities that are essential for any relationship to thrive. So, if you're looking to attract a quality man, one of the best things you can do is work on your emotional maturity. Take responsibility for your feelings, be open to growth, communicate with compassion, and develop the resilience to weather life's ups and downs. The more emotionally mature you become, the more likely you are to attract a partner who values these qualities and is ready to build a deep, lasting, and fulfilling relationship. And remember, when you are emotionally mature, you not only attract the right man, but you also become the right partner for someone who is on the same level of growth and understanding. The seventh key to attracting a quality man is self-love. This is not just a cliche phrase, it's the foundation for everything else in a healthy, balanced relationship. If you are constantly seeking external validation or approval, it can be hard to attract a partner who values you for who you truly are. Self-love means embracing yourself, your flaws, your strengths, your past, and your future without constantly seeking someone else to complete you. A quality man is drawn to a woman who has a strong sense of self, who knows her worth and doesn't settle for less than what she deserves. When you love yourself, you don't feel the need to chase after anyone or beg for affection. You understand that your value is inherent, not determined by anyone else's opinion. This sense of self-assurance is magnetic. People, especially potential partners, are drawn to confidence. And a confident woman knows that she deserves love, respect, and loyalty. Self-love is also about respecting your boundaries. It means knowing when to say no and being able to protect your emotional well-being. Too often, people stay in relationships that aren't healthy, or they allow others to treat them in ways that are disrespectful. A woman who loves herself understands that she doesn't need to tolerate bad behavior to feel worthy or loved. She sets clear boundaries and stands by them, not out of defensiveness or bitterness, but from a place of self-respect. It also means forgiving yourself for your mistakes. We all have moments in our past that we regret, but when you truly love yourself, you accept those parts of your journey as learning experiences. Instead of dwelling on them or punishing yourself, you use them as stepping stones to become a stronger, wiser person. Self-love means embracing your imperfections, knowing that they do not define you, and learning from them so that you can move forward. A woman who practices self-love doesn't settle for unhealthy relationships because she understands her value. She doesn't feel the need to chase after someone who isn't emotionally available or committed. Instead, she focuses on being the best version of herself, which in turn attracts the kind of man who is looking for that same emotional maturity, strength, and self-assurance. A quality man will see her confidence and sense of self-worth and will be more likely to want to invest in a relationship with her because he knows she can stand on her own, but also build a partnership based on mutual respect, love, and growth. Self-love also means taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's about practicing self-care, whether that's through regular exercise, eating well, meditating, or simply taking time to rest and recharge. When you love yourself, you prioritize your own well-being. And that sends a powerful message to the universe: you are worth the effort. A quality man will recognize this as he's looking for a partner who can take care of herself emotionally and physically, and who is committed to her own growth and happiness. When you love yourself, you also learn to communicate your needs clearly. Instead of expecting a partner to guess what you want or need, you are confident enough to express yourself. This doesn't mean you're demanding or inflexible, but rather that you are self-aware and honest about what is important to you in a relationship. You are comfortable being vulnerable enough to say, this is what I need, and this is how I feel, without fear of rejection. Self-love also has the power to heal. It allows you to move past hurt from previous relationships and not carry baggage into your new ones. When you have a healthy relationship with yourself, you don't bring the weight of past disappointments into your present. You're not seeking someone else to heal your wounds or fix what's broken in you. Instead, you approach new relationships with a clean slate, knowing that you are already whole and worthy. This creates space for the right person to come into your life without feeling like you're depending on them to fill an emotional void. It's crucial to note that self-love is not about being self-centered or selfish. It's about acknowledging your own needs and desires while also being open to the needs and desires of others. It's the balance of knowing that you are important, but also understanding that relationships require mutual respect, effort, and empathy. A quality man will appreciate this balance, as he's looking for a partner who can give love freely without losing himself in the process. Self-love is also about having the courage to walk away from situations that are not aligned with your values or worth. If you are involved with someone who is not treating you the way you deserve, self-love will empower you to walk away and believe that something better is out there. This sense of self-respect is incredibly attractive to a quality man because he knows that a woman who loves herself is not afraid to make the tough decisions for her own well-being. In the end, self-love is the key to attracting the right kind of love into your life. When you love yourself, you send out the energy that you deserve: respect, kindness, and devotion. A quality man will see you, not just for how you look on the outside, but for the strength, confidence, and emotional maturity you carry within. He will be drawn to the person you are, not the person you are pretending to be. When you love yourself, you become magnetic, and that is when the right man will find his way to you, ready to offer you the love and partnership you've always deserved. It's about understanding that your happiness, peace, and sense of worth do not depend on someone else's validation. In a world where relationships are often idolized, we sometimes place the weight of our emotional well-being on the shoulders of others. We tend to expect our partner to be the source of our joy, security, and sense of purpose, and when they fall short, we feel lost or incomplete. But true emotional independence comes from recognizing that you are enough on your own. You are responsible for your emotions and your happiness. No one else can give that to you, and no one else can take it away. It's about standing firm in who you are, regardless of the dynamics in any relationship. When you can maintain your emotional balance and sense of self, no matter what is going on in the outside world, that's when you become truly magnetic to a quality man. Being emotionally independent doesn't mean you have to shut yourself off or stop being vulnerable. It's not about building walls and avoiding emotional connections. What it means is that you're able to regulate your own emotions and not let them be dictated by external circumstances or other people's behaviors. It means you have a deep sense of self-awareness and emotional maturity that allows you to face challenges, heartbreaks, or disappointments without losing your footing. When you are emotionally independent, you can approach relationships from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You understand that you are whole on your own, and that a relationship is not something you need to survive or feel complete. You don't get desperate or anxious about the relationship status because you know that, regardless of the outcome, you are enough. This inner strength radiates outwards, making you more attractive because you exude confidence and peace. A key element of emotional independence is learning how to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, but lines that you draw in order to protect your well-being. They help you navigate relationships in a healthy, balanced way without sacrificing your needs or values. When you respect your own boundaries and enforce them, you show others that you value yourself and expect that same respect in return. A quality man will be drawn to this because he knows that a woman who has clear boundaries will not tolerate disrespect or mistreatment, and that's someone he can trust and rely on. Emotional independence also involves letting go of the need to control everything in your life. You can't control how someone behaves or how a relationship unfolds, but you can control how you react. By accepting that you can't force someone to meet your expectations, you free yourself from the burden of carrying that emotional weight. You also let go of the fear that you will be abandoned or rejected. When you release these fears, you allow space for a true connection to form. Being emotionally independent doesn't mean you can't rely on others, but it does mean that you're not putting all your emotional needs on someone else. You understand that you can lean on others for support when needed, but you don't depend on them to validate your worth or fill the emotional void. You've learned to be your own source of strength and comfort. And that is one of the most attractive qualities you can bring into any relationship. This emotional independence also allows you to be more authentic. When you're not trying to please others or fit into a certain mold, you show up in relationships as your true self. You don't need to change who you are to fit someone else's expectations because you are comfortable with who you are. You attract people, including quality men, who appreciate you for the real, unfiltered version of yourself. But emotional independence also means you're not holding on to past emotional baggage. It's about learning to heal and move forward without letting past hurts or disappointments govern your present or future. You understand that life is full of ebbs and flows, and you can't let past pain define who you are or what you're capable of. Emotional independence gives you the freedom to release those old wounds and step into a healthier, more positive mindset that opens the door to better relationships. Finally, emotional independence gives you the freedom to walk away from situations or relationships that no longer serve you. You're not stuck out of fear or desperation because your happiness and fulfillment are not tied to that person or situation. You understand that letting go, while difficult, can often be the best thing for your own emotional well-being. And this strength and self-awareness is incredibly attractive to a quality man because he knows that a woman who values herself enough to walk away from what's not right for her will never settle for anything less than what she deserves. In the end, emotional independence isn't just about protecting yourself or building walls. It's about stepping into your own power and learning that you are whole, complete, and valuable, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. It's about showing up in your life and in your relationships as your authentic, powerful self and letting everything else flow naturally from that place of inner peace and confidence. When you truly embrace emotional independence, you are ready to attract the kind of relationship that reflects your worth and allows you to continue growing and thriving as an individual. For many, the idea of being single can feel like failure or something to be avoided at all costs. Society often reinforces the notion that we are only whole when we are in a relationship, that our happiness or sense of self is incomplete without someone by our side. But in reality, being single is not something to fear. In fact, it is an incredible opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and transformation. Being single allows you to focus on your own journey, free from the distractions and compromises that relationships sometimes require. It's a chance for you to connect with yourself, to build a deeper understanding of who you are, what you want, and where you're headed. Instead of rushing into a relationship for the sake of being in one, being single gives you the space to truly focus on your own personal development. When you are comfortable being single, you develop a strong sense of independence. You realize that your worth isn't determined by whether or not you're in a relationship. Your value comes from within, from your accomplishments, your character, your passions, and your ability to love and care for yourself. When you stop fearing the idea of being alone, you can truly embrace the fullness of who you are without needing validation from anyone else. This period of being single also allows you to heal from past wounds. Whether it's the end of a previous relationship or unresolved emotional pain, being single gives you the opportunity to take a step back and work on healing before entering into a new relationship. It's important to address any emotional baggage you may be carrying so that you don't bring that into a future relationship. Healing is a process, and being single allows you to fully focus on that without the complications of trying to balance someone else's needs with your own. When you stop fearing being single, you start realizing that you don't need to settle. Too many people rush into relationships because they're afraid of being alone, and in doing so, they lower their standards or tolerate behaviors that don't align with their values. But when you embrace your single life, you realize that you are worthy of a relationship that is truly fulfilling, one where both partners support each other's growth and happiness. You're not in a rush because you know that the right relationship will come when it's meant to, and it will be built on mutual respect, trust, and love. Being single also allows you to become more self-sufficient. You learn how to navigate life on your own, solve problems, and make decisions that are in your best interest. You don't need someone else to complete you. You are already whole. This self-sufficiency boosts your confidence and attracts the kind of partner who values your independence and understands that you don't need to be rescued or saved. Another benefit of being single is that you have the freedom to pursue your own passions and interests without compromise. In a relationship, it's easy to fall into the trap of prioritizing your partner's desires over your own. But being single allows you to take the time to explore your hobbies, career goals, and dreams. You can fully immerse yourself in what excites you without having to worry about how it fits into someone else's life or schedule. When you stop fearing being single, you begin to approach dating and relationships with a sense of clarity and purpose. You no longer feel desperate to fill a void or to be in a relationship for the sake of being in one. Instead, you date with intention, knowing exactly what you're looking for and what you're not willing to tolerate. This clarity allows you to attract someone who is on the same page, someone who complements your life and enhances your happiness rather than completing it. Being single also gives you the time to build strong, meaningful relationships with yourself and with others outside of a romantic context. You have the opportunity to nurture friendships, connect with family, and strengthen your social circle. These connections are important because they remind you that you don't need a romantic partner to feel loved and supported. You are already surrounded by people who care for you and value your presence in their lives. Lastly, embracing being single teaches you the importance of self-love. You learn to enjoy your own company and to find joy in the simple pleasures of life. You stop seeking validation from others because you realize that the most important approval is your own. Self-love is the foundation for attracting healthy, balanced relationships because it's from this place of self-respect that you are able to give and receive love in a way that is nurturing and fulfilling. So don't fear being single. Instead, see it as a time to fully embrace your own growth, heal from past experiences, and build the foundation for the kind of love you truly deserve. When you stop fearing solitude and start embracing your own journey, you create space for the right person to come into your life. And when that person arrives, they'll be drawn to you because you are whole, you are confident, and you are ready to share your love with someone who values and respects you for who you truly are. In the end, remember, being single isn't a reflection of your worth, but a powerful opportunity to grow, heal, and become the best version of yourself. And when you are ready, The right person will show up not because you need them, but because you are truly ready to share your life with someone who adds to your happiness, not completes it. Often we are so focused on finding someone who fits our ideals, someone who checks all the boxes we set out, but we fail to recognize that the quality of partner we attract is a direct reflection of the energy we put out into the world. The law of attraction teaches us that like attracts like what we believe about ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and the energy we radiate is the exact type of person we will draw into our lives. When we don't have a clear sense of our own worth, we might subconsciously settle for relationships that don't honor us, relationships that fall short of what we truly deserve. It's easy to fall into this trap when we are not yet confident in who we are. If we feel that we are not deserving of a high quality partner, we may end up attracting individuals who reinforce that belief. People who are not aligned with our values or our potential. But when you work on cultivating a healthy sense of self-worth and self-love, you shift your energy. You begin to see yourself as deserving of the best. And as a result, you begin to attract people who see that value in you too. This isn't about perfection. No one is perfect. But it's about being aligned with your own inner worth, knowing that you are enough just as you are. When you recognize that you are worthy of love, respect, and admiration, you send out that message to the world, and in return, you will draw on the right kind of partner. This shift in energy starts with how you treat yourself. If you're always putting yourself last, compromising your own needs for the sake of others, you may unintentionally attract people who expect you to continue that behavior. However, when you start prioritizing yourself, setting boundaries, and showing up for your own dreams and goals, you send a clear signal that you expect the same treatment from others. You begin to model self-respect, and that respect is mirrored back to you by the people you invite into your life. The kind of relationship you have with yourself is the foundation of the relationships you build with others. If you struggle with self-doubt or constantly seek external validation, it will be difficult to attract a partner who is secure, loving, and self-assured. However, when you start to love and validate yourself, when you accept yourself fully flaws and all, you create a solid foundation for healthy, fulfilling relationships. By embracing your own worth, you stop tolerating unhealthy dynamics. You won't settle for being treated poorly or giving more than you receive. You will understand your value, and with that understanding, you will not accept anything less than a relationship that brings you joy, peace, and growth. When you fully know your worth, you stop trying to prove yourself to others. Instead, you stand in your power, confident in the person you are and the love you have to offer. Additionally, it's essential to recognize that this principle applies not only to romantic relationships, but to every interaction we have with others. When you radiate self-love and self-respect, you attract the same energy from friends, family, and colleagues. This energy shifts the way people treat you. The more you honor yourself, the more others will honor you. And this is the key to building meaningful relationships, both romantic and platonic. Being a magnet for quality men means stepping into your authentic self, letting go of insecurities, and embracing who you truly are. You stop pretending to be someone you're not for fear of rejection. Instead, you stand in your truth, knowing that the right person will be attracted to you because of the real you, the version of yourself that's unapologetically confident, comfortable, and loving. When you are able to cultivate a mindset of abundance and self-assurance, you no longer feel the need to chase after love or seek validation from others. You no longer feel the pressure of needing someone to complete you. Instead, you feel whole, you are whole, and you become a magnet for the kind of love that is reciprocated in full. The right person, one who matches your energy, will be naturally drawn to you, not because you are seeking them, but because your authenticity and energy speak volumes. It is so important to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not because you are trying to change for anyone else, but because you are worthy of your own love and admiration. Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for everything that follows. And as you work on becoming more confident, more aligned with your true self, and more at peace within, you will naturally attract a partner who reflects that same love, respect, and energy back to you. So remember, you don't need to chase after anyone. You don't need to beg for attention or seek validation. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself, showing up as your authentic self, and the right person will show up for you when the time is right. You are already worthy, and by embracing this truth, you will attract the kind of love you've always dreamed of.